somewhere out there right now, a 22-year-old just deleted his gaming channel. 41 videos, 14 months of work, 0 regrets, in his own words. He's convinced YouTube just doesn't work for guys like him. Here's the annoying part. He was about a month away from the algorithm actually figuring out who he was. Not luck, not talent, timing. He quit during the exact phase every single successful channel has to survive and never even knew it existed. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what that phase is and why almost nobody warns you about it. Ask any small creator why they're stuck at 200 subscribers and you'll hear some version of the algorithm hates small channels. It's protecting the big guys. It's rigged. Cute theory. Wrong theory. YouTube doesn't hate your channel. It doesn't know it exists yet. And there's a difference between hatred and ignorance. Every recommendation is a guess dressed up as confidence, pulled from a few hundred candidates and ranked by a system predicting whether you'll actually watch. New channels have no history for that system to guess from. That's not a grudge. That's a cold start problem. And it happens to every creator you're jealous of right now, including the ones with 1 million subscribers. Just be consistent is the advice equivalent of just be rich. Technically true, deeply useless. Uploading consistently bad content doesn't build momentum, it builds a track record. YouTube learns from your history the way a friend learns not to invite you to trivia night after you've gotten 3 questions wrong about your own hometown. If your last 10 videos average a 2% click rate, consistency just confirms that number. What actually works is one small improvement per upload. Tighter hook, cleaner audio, better pacing, less treadmill, more RPG. You're leveling up 15 skill trees at once, and most people quit while they're still stuck on level 1. People talk about the algorithm like a grumpy landlord deciding who deserves an apartment. It's not that dramatic. It's closer to a mirror with a really good memory. Google's own research describes a 2-stage system. First, it pulls a few hundred candidates out of billions of videos based on what a viewer's watched before. Then, a second system ranks those candidates by predicting who'll actually stick around. Nobody's judging your content on vibes. It's reflecting patterns in behavior, clicks, drop-off points, what people watched next. The algorithm isn't your enemy or your fairy godmother. It's a very literal-minded roommate who only does what you've already shown it works. For years, the whole game was watch time. Keep people watching longer, win. Then YouTube quietly changed the rules, and most people never got the memo. Now satisfaction matters more, measured through surveys asking, did this match what you expected? Through not interested clicks, and through whether you kept someone watching YouTube after your video ended, which creates a genuinely funny trap. A thumbnail pulling a 15% click rate sounds like a win. But if people bail in 10 seconds because the video lied to them, YouTube quietly flags that as a quality problem. Meanwhile, a boring thumbnail with a 5% click rate and 60% retention is having a better night than you are. Clickbait isn't just annoying anymore, it's mathematically self-destructive. You spend 3 weeks on a video. Script, reshoots, the thumbnail you tweaked at 1 AM. You hit publish expecting, at minimum, a respectable showing. 1,000 views feels fair. You get 12. Your brain does something specific here, a reward prediction error. The same mechanism that makes losing on a slot machine feel worse than just losing on purpose. Nobody warns new creators about this part. They assume the crash means the channel is failing, when it just means their expectations were never calibrated to what month 2 actually looks like. Here's a number that should be printed on the YouTube Studio welcome screen. The algorithm has a documented bias toward channels with more history because it's trained on past data and trusts what it already knows. One of Google's own researchers put it plainly, machine learning systems built on historical data tend to favor the past. Your channel's low view count in month 2 isn't a verdict, it's a cold start. All the channels aren't winning because they're better, they're winning because YouTube has more confidence in who'll click their stuff. You're not behind, you're early, and early looks identical to failing until it very suddenly doesn't. Picture a restaurant with a sign out front that says, best sushi in town. You sit down and the waiter brings you a hot dog. You're leaving and you're never coming back. That's what happens to your audience when you pivot niches. There was a creator finance channel, scripted videos, real money invested, 4 months in, 120 subscribers, feeling like a failure. So he pivots to true crime, chasing views. YouTube, confused, shows the true crime video to his finance audience. Click rate drops to 0.5%. Channel's basically dead within weeks. He didn't fail because true crime was oversaturated. He failed because he reset the one thing YouTube had barely started learning about him, who he actually makes videos for. Somewhere in 2013, there's a kid making genuinely rough Minecraft videos, counting to 100,000 on camera, analyzing other creators' hits for fun. You know him now as Mr. Beast, but back then, he had basically no audience and a lot of patience. He wasn't grinding for virality, he was grinding pacing, hooks, and packaging in the dark, years before the algorithm cared who he was. That's the real skill gap, not the camera, not the editing software. A 1080p webcam video with a sharp 3-second hook beats a 4K cinematic NES with a slow 30-second intro every time. Branding isn't your logo. It's whether your title and thumbnail make one clear promise and whether the first 10 seconds actually deliver it. A flop feels like a verdict. 90% of the time, it's a data point. The mistake most people make after a flop is blaming the niche, when the packaging is usually the actual problem. Every time you upload outside your lane, it's like forcing a GPS to recalculate your route mid-drive. Do it once, fine. Do it constantly, and eventually the GPS just gives up routing you anywhere. The move after a flop isn't a new topic. It's the same topic, a sharper title, a clearer thumbnail, and a hook that kills the guessing game in the first 10 seconds. Treat early videos like test data, not lottery tickets, and the flop stops being personal. There's a specific window where this falls apart for most people. Month 4 through 6. Initial excitement runs out, the grind gets real, burnout shows up uninvited. It's also, statistically, right before the compounding effect starts to show up. 90% of your results come from the last 10% of the effort, which means quitting in month 5 is like killing a render at 99% because it's taking forever. The creators who make it aren't the ones who never doubted it. They're the ones who kept uploading through the exact window where everyone else rage quit. None of this matters if you're guessing whether a video's actually ready before you hit publish. So I built something stupidly simple, the YouTube video scorecard. 5 zones, 20 checkpoints, covering your click zone, hook, retention, value, and CTA, all before you ever upload. Score 16 or higher, you're good to publish. Score under 10, you just saved yourself a flop. It's $2. Takes less time than re-editing your thumbnail for the 4th time. Links right below this video. Your channel doesn't have a talent problem, it has a data problem. And data takes time to build, not luck. If you want the full breakdown of why most growth advice actively works against you, that video's linked right here. Watch it next. And if any part of this made you rethink your last upload, hit subscribe. That's exactly the kind of channel this one's built for.